What's going on, everybody? So today I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, but I finally decided I'm gonna do a full breakdown of my competition ribs. Now these ribs have done me pretty well in previous cook-offs. We've won it a few times. We got some trophies and stuff over here with these ribs. And we haven't changed much from it. So what I wanna do is I wanna take you a step-by-step of how I do these ribs. First off, look, I just grabbed a rack of ribs from, I think it was from Walmart or whatnot. Nothing special. I personally like to get prairie fresh if I can find some good bones. For this video, it doesn't really matter. We're just making some ribs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drain all this blood and stuff out of here and get them out of the package. One of the reasons why I decided to finally do this video is I went to the store the other day and these were just sitting there, and look at those bones. Straight. Looking good. So what I'm gonna do is, and again, this is what I just do. I don't personally want all this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right here. And then down here, the bones start to get kind of curvy, so I'm gonna cut off from right here. Now, we could go through this whole video and trim up the sides and the edges and all that stuff, and I'm just not gonna do it. If you're watching this video, it's probably because you're looking for a rib video. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna take this extra flap off real quick. And then you gotta get your paper towels, and we're gonna remove that membrane off the back end. So one towel at a time, I prefer. And if you're one of those people that can get this off in first try, man, good job to you. This takes me forever. So all we're doing is grabbing it with that paper towel, ripping it off. Not bad, not bad. So on the back side, I'm pretty good with that. Now on this front side, again, I'm just gonna come get some of this big fat off of here. I get it, people say fat is flavor and all that stuff. This big fat, I don't want it on there. So I like that. And where I like to get my ribs down to is this half pan right here. I wanna get them into a half pan, and boom, that works. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go and inject these. Now with the injection, everybody has their own, again, method. This one right here, I'll put the ingredients right here on the screen, and you can pause the video, snapshot that. This mixture will probably do 3 racks of ribs. Generally, I can do my 3 racks of ribs and probably 2 or 3 money muscles at a comp, so it's not like it's one per. You can see, I mean, it makes quite a bit. Now today, I'm just using the trusty old Tony Chachere's injector. I didn't get my injector out of the camper. I have everything packed up for the season, and I really didn't want to go dig through it, but I'll tell you one thing. This is a little pro tip. Always keep one of these in your camper. I've had injectors screw up and all kind of stuff, and I'll tell you right now, it's a lifesaver to have just one of these little injectors. Typically, I don't use this one, but hey, I don't want to dig out all my stuff. So what I want you to notice is, I want you to look at these ribs. Let me put them back on here, and I want you to look. See how nice and flat that is? Watch what happens whenever we inject these. Because like typically with this needle, I don't prefer this big of a needle for it, but all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on this bottom side, go right here straight into it, plump it up, and then I'm just kind of gonna go down and poke, give a little squeeze all the way down. So my first set of injections are gonna be on this back side. And when it starts squirting out at you, that's just the meat letting you know, hey, it's not gonna take anymore. But I inject on both sides. Some people will sit there and tell you, hey, you only gotta do one side. I don't know. I'll tell you, in cooking, there's a lot of things that people do, and if you ask us why, it's because we have our own superstitions, our own beliefs, our own stuff, you know, who knows. But I will tell you, this injection, one of the main keys to this is the Texas oil dust pork injection. I'll put a picture of it right here on the screen, but guys, Aaron Leslie creates an amazing product. Now you can already kind of see that we're starting to get that depth. So watch, here we go. Now I'm gonna go on this top side. They're plumping up really nice. All right, and for me, that is about all the injection I'm gonna do. Now you can see right there, look at that. I mean, even when I push them together, you can see how pretty those look. All right, so now, all we're gonna do is we're gonna take these, I'm gonna put them bottom down in here. And the night before, like I said, I'm injecting this stuff the night before. It really just depends on what time I get out there. You know, I like to get them done by about 6, 7 o'clock at night, but does it really matter? Who knows? I don't know all the science to it. But Gulf Coast smoke, that base. I'm gonna put a layer right here. And for me, that's it. Now, we'd obviously repeat this process 3 or 4 more times. But like I said, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna put these in the refrigerator. I'm gonna put them in the fridge overnight, let them rest, let them just continue to do stuff. Sometimes if I have leftover injection, I'll pour it around the edges and have it bottom down. I'm not gonna do that today because I need all this for the pork butts this weekend. So we're gonna rest this. In the morning, we're gonna fire up the Traeger and we're gonna show you how we're gonna cook these. All right, everybody, so it's the next morning. They've been sitting overnight. You can see they just look amazing, right? So all we're gonna do, like I said, they've been sitting out for about an hour. So we're just gonna start seasoning and I'm gonna start on this backside. Now the first thing, like I said, we're using all Gulf Coast smoke. I'm gonna hit it with a little bit more of that base. And then I'm coming in with Southern Belle. I'm about a medium coat on this. All right, and that's all I'm gonna put on this backside, okay? So now we're gonna spray this with a little bit of olive oil. It just kind of helps it stick. Just quick little spray. Now, let's go ahead and flip over. See, look, it doesn't fall off. All right, so now, same thing. That base, Southern Belle, and then the Southern Hospitality. All right, so at this point, what I want to do is I want to let this sit here for about an hour, okay? While this is sitting here for about an hour, sweating out, getting those colors, I'm going to get the Traeger up over here at 275, and we're going to get these on the pit, and I'll kind of explain what we do. All right, so these have actually been sitting about 45 minutes, and as you can see, they've sweated out. They look really, really good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go put them on the pit. And what we're going to do on the pit is right when we get them on the rack, we're going to squish them together. See how that goes, how they start getting some size to them? That's what we want to do. And then about every 45 minutes, I'm gonna do a light spray of duck fat on the top. Now, I'm running these at 275 and we're going 2.5 hours. After the 2.5 hours, we'll bring them off the pit and we'll show you what we're gonna do to wrap, but let's go get these on the pit. All right, so we're right about the 2.5 hour mark. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and get some stuff laid down on this, and this is just what I typically do. So we're gonna start off the good old trusty blue butter. And all I'm gonna do, put a little squiggly on it. Then I'm gonna take some honey. And the honey to me doesn't really bother me which brand I use. I just use whatever I get. Now, I'm gonna get the sugar in the raw. And the reason, I used to do brown sugar a lot. And one of the reasons why I changed it was Fergalicious Barbecue had talked about it doesn't burn as easy. So that's kind of why I've moved over to sugar in the raw. And then one thing, people, if you've seen any, I've got to make some new stuff, but this is my infinity bottle and it's worked really well for me in comps. So I'm gonna put a little down there, and then a little barbecue sauce. But you never put cold barbecue sauce, so let me go grab the barbecue sauce real quick. I've got it warming up over on the Traeger. All right, so all we're gonna do, I'm gonna put down just a little bit on here. And if you're curious about barbecue sauce, I'm using the Blues Hog Champions blend. It's what I put on there. But, so as you can see, we've got honey, butter, brown sugar, and barbecue sauce. I want to put a little bit more brown sugar down here. All right, let me go grab these ribs and let's slap them on here. All right, as you can see, these ribs are looking good. And I'm gonna put these meat down. Now, we're gonna do the same process on top. Now the easy part, all we gotta do is wrap it up. Now, I've talked about this, you wanna make a handle on here. So what? I wanna get it as nice and tight as I can. Fold that over. I'm gonna fold that over. Now, let's get our second piece of foil. Do the same thing because I need to be able to open it to check temps. So, grab this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll it down and kind of grab that handle right there. Now when I fold this, I'm gonna pinch it right around there as well. Same thing right here. Pinch it down. So now I have a handle. All right, so we're gonna go put this back on, and I'm looking at about an hour, so hour and a half, but at the hour mark, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start probing. I'm looking for about 200, 205, and we're just gonna kind of look at what the ribs look like. So we're gonna go put them back on the pit, and about, like I said, about an hour and a half, we're gonna probe them, see where we're at, and then we're gonna get them finished up. All right, so we're right there at about the hour mark, and I went in and probed them around 200, 205. I like them where they're at. Out of competition, if I was ahead of schedule, whatnot, I'm gonna take my ribs, I'm gonna open them up, and typically I'm just gonna let all the steam out. Once it's done steaming out, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close that back up, I'm gonna throw it in the Cambro, and I'm gonna hold them till right about the 30 minutes before I gotta do them. So go ahead and grab these out of here. Grab these out of here. So now, in a competition, like I said, all I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna cut all of these up individually, and I'm gonna start checking them. All right, so now, well, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip them all over and see essentially which ones I like. So once I figure out which ones I want, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna now put a hot glove on. And you can see I've got this tin right here. And what this tin was designed for was just to warm up sauce. So what we gotta do, let's move this out of the way. And now all we're gonna do is we're gonna take each one of these ribs that we decide that we want, and we're gonna dunk them in this sauce, and we're gonna go put them back on the pit for a few minutes. So, like I said, just for right now, I typically wouldn't turn this one in. It's a little too thin, but for video's sake, we're gonna do it. So for me, if I was gonna sit there and build and I wanted to just sauce everything, I'm gonna put the main ones I want right here, and then I'm just gonna kind of put everything else off to the side because I still wanna try it, and I'm gonna try one of these after they're done saucing. And some people might say, well, hey, why didn't you try it before you sauced it? At the end of the day, this is what we got, this is what we're turning in if I'm at a competition. So that's why I don't worry about trying them. I'm gonna try them once I get them off the pit, after they've been seasoned and everything. So I'm gonna get these back on the pit for about 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and do our finishing part on it. All right, so we had them on there for about 5 minutes, and all I wanna do is tack up, and then what I'm typically gonna do right here is I'm gonna take a little bit of that Gulf Coast smoke, and I'm gonna put a little dusting on it. And typically I have this ground up a little bit better, but again, we're not cooking right now. We're not in season for me, so I go a little bit more ground up on it. So looking at these, you know, off this rack, I may go, if this one didn't have all the color right there, and again, I'd probably wipe that out if I was doing a real comp, but I'd probably go with these three. You know, that one's a little thin. We're typically cooking 2 to 3 racks of ribs, so I'm, you know, looking at these, I don't even know which one I want to try. I think we're gonna go with this one right here. As you can see right there, pretty color. Now let's give a bite into it. As you can see, that perfect bite through. I need some paper towels. But I like them. I like them. I love them. This is, like I said, this is my comp recipe. And you can see, like I said, we got a good bite through. They're good, they're tender, they're amazing. Nothing's pulling. And I guess if you don't have sauce on your face or you're really eating ribs, they're amazing. I'm telling you guys, these Gulf Coast smoke recipes or Gulf Coast smoke seasonings are friggin' amazing. The injection, you know, we had the injection from pork cutta from Aaron Leslie over at Texas Oil Dust. I don't know, drew a blank there, but it's amazing. The ribs look good. They're great color. I absolutely love them. Again, when I started cooking, the reason why I wanted to do this video, when I started cooking and trying to learn stuff, not a lot of people wanted to share their recipes. I really don't care. I'll share it. The only thing I can't tell you is what's in this bottle. I know it says sweet and savory. That ain't what's in there. I can promise you that. But it's something that I just kind of want to share, put out there. I'm going to show my chicken recipe here soon. And I can tell you my pork, as far as my money muscles, doesn't differ too far from here. It's pretty much the same. Man, these ribs are good. You know, I love eating ribs. I love cooking ribs, but if you're looking for a good rib recipe, there you go. That's the one you want. And again, you do your own thing. You know, this is just kind of what I do. At the 200, 205, it's where you want. So you got to poke and see if it's tender and all that stuff. If it's not tender, don't pull them yet. Let them run a little longer, okay? You've got to know when you probe where your food's at, if it's done or not. Again, I appreciate everybody watching. Make sure that you like, subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the channel. Other than that, guys, hey, good luck on your next rib recipe. See you later.